Well, currently we're interested in using games like the one you see on the screen here to assess aggression in children. The long-term goal is to build a technology-based assessment that looks at threat with children. Traditional assessments are usually done with paper and pencil, where the person is either assessing themselves or what we call an informant assessment, where a teacher or a parent is assessing them. In this case, what we're looking at is a direct assessment or a behavioral assessment. They're making choices playing a game that we then turn into data and look at how aggressive someone might be. Instead of us having to rely on somebody else telling the truth, we can actually have students play a game, something that may excite them, and gather that data ourselves. Prior to third grade is really a good time to identify children who may need additional intervention, who may need additional help at developing social skills, in reducing issues with impulsivity, and addressing issues where people may react aggressively as opposed to a pro-social behavior. And so there is some precedent for using various forms of technology to either assess or to provide intervention. I think what's different about this particular work is that no one that I'm aware of has been doing anything related to violence, aggression, and threat. And obviously it's an area in our community and in the country that we feel like is needed. All you have to do is look at the news. I mean, here in Las Vegas, we've seen our own horrible tragedies. The idea is that if we can find those students, those children at a young age and get them help, we can reduce the chance of those kinds of activities happening. And I think it's important to know that these children have an entire life ahead of them. And if we can identify them, get them the help that they need, we can change the course of an entire life. I think the big question is, what kind of difference do we want to make in the community? This gives us an opportunity to work together to make our community a safer place and to really begin to make a difference in young children. This isn't one of those things that you make a change and the change is temporary, but if we can identify kids and really make a difference in their lives, we're talking about changing the course of a child's entire life. And again, the community gets to experience that as well, because we don't have the instability, the lack of safety that goes along with someone who may be more violent or aggressive in the community.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael McCreery. So in support of the university's top-tier initiative, the Dean's Office provided us the opportunity to open the Interaction and Media Sciences Lab in February of 2017. Now, the IMS Lab primarily focuses on research related to teaching and learning and assessment and intervention using video games, simulations, and virtual reality. Now, recently, we just completed our first study. That study was the one that we kind of covered a little bit in the video clip. Here's the thing that I want to highlight about that study, though. We were able to take an off-the-shelf video game and demonstrate that it can work as a stealth assessment of aggression. Now, traditionally, when we talk about doing assessment, using assessment practices, assessment tools, looking at aggression, we're talking about paper and pencil assessments. Assessments that require our students, our children, to both be self-aware and willing to tell the truth. But here's the thing about using a stealth assessment that is embedded in a video game. I don't have to worry about that. I'm actually analyzing their behavior as it unfolds in a social situation. So, here's the thing. By us being able to look at their behavior, it potentially significantly increases our ability to identify children with aggressive or violent tendencies that might otherwise fall through the cracks. So here's the thing. What does it mean for us moving forward? Well, now that we kind of have a decent understanding of what it is that a video game can do, we want to build our own. The difference is that we want to build a video game that is an assessment that is specifically designed to look at aggression. So, what does that mean for us moving forward? Well, there are two particular things that we want to cover. One is that we want to build a robust threat assessment tool. Now understand, traditionally when we talk about threat assessment, we're talking about it in terms of maybe the FBI. In this case, we aren't. We're actually talking about it in terms of socio-emotional development. Alternatively, or additionally, we're also talking about concretely linking that assessment tool with evidence-based interventions. So, in the end, I always have to ask myself, why does it matter? Why am I doing this research? Well, I think there are a couple things really for me that come to mind. First is that we know that early detection increases the likelihood of early intervention. But I think, for me, most importantly, it offers our children and the community to experience psychologically healthier lives and safer places to live. Thank you.